The first satellite images of the Belgorod Reservoir dam in the Russian Federation following the Ukrainian strikes showed serious consequences and flooding of large areas within the first 24 hours after the floodgates were damaged. Images posted by the Ukrainian OSINT channel Ilanov_plus showed the scale of the flooding in areas downstream of the reservoir. Significant areas downstream of the Seversky Donets River are already flooded. Water continues to flow out, and the flooded area is gradually expanding. As a reminder, the Ukrainian Armed Forces unmanned aerial system struck the Belgorod Reservoir dam on the morning of October 26. After several strikes, the dam's floodgates sustained critical damage, and water began leaking uncontrollably. It is estimated that the reservoir's water level dropped by 1 meter within a day. Videos showing damaged sluice gates and uncontrolled water discharge were likely posted online by facility employees. According to military analysts, flooding from the water release will be felt by Russian occupiers in the Vovchansk area of the Kharkiv region. Some of their positions have already been flooded, and their logistics will also be disrupted. It shows that significant adjacent areas are already flooded, and the water continues to spread and gradually flood the surrounding areas. OSINTers also point out that the evacuation of people from areas below the reservoir has still not been announced. And Belgorod Region Governor Vyacheslav Gladkov hasn't made a single comment all day. The local Ministry of Emergency Situations is also silent. It's possible that the Russian side will try to keep this fact under wraps as much as possible. Specifically, following the drone attack overnight, large streams of water began flowing through the dam. As a result, the water level quickly dropped by more than a meter. As a reminder, Robert Madyar Brovdi, commander of the Unmanned Systems Forces, confirmed this evening that operators of the 1st Separate SBS Center were behind the drone attack on the Belgorod Reservoir. He stated that the strikes caused the dam to crack. Furthermore, the 16th Army Corps of the Ukrainian Armed Forces reported that after the attack on the dam, Russian positions began to flood to such an extent that the water cut off the occupiers, who had managed to cross the Seversky Donets near Vovchansk, from the main forces. Earlier, Russia claimed that the Ukrainian Armed Forces allegedly struck the dam of the Belgorod Reservoir with HIMARS missiles. The strikes reportedly caused damage, according to the Russian telegram channel MNS. According to our information, the hydraulic structure was attacked by 3 HIMARS rockets, the report states. It added that the impact damaged several buildings with technical equipment, the lifting mechanisms of one of the sluices, and the dam crest.
Вон она ударила. Попали. Прям в плотину прилетела. Еще один летит. В машину попали. Ловил. Вот он второй. Сколько их там? Бля, тут вообще заряженный.
Temporarily occupied Crimea is once again facing a serious water shortage. Hourly water supply schedules are already in effect, and the reserves in Alushta's reservoirs will only last the city 85 to 90 days. Meanwhile, the occupation authorities have no action plan, reports the National Resistance Center. The current situation in Crimea is increasing the dissatisfaction of the population with Putin's rule. People are expressing their protest, primarily by leaving Crimea. Russian occupation officials from the so-called State Committee for Water Management and Land Reclamation of Crimea have effectively acknowledged the critical water supply situation in eastern Crimea. The problem is most acute in Alushta, where limited water supplies forced authorities to introduce hourly water supply schedules and reduce water pressure to a minimum on October the 1st. According to sources in Crimea, the situation has caused panic among local officials. In Simferopol, there's a heated debate about who will be held guilty in the event of a major collapse: the leadership of the State Committee or Askenov's administration. Collaborator Askenov himself is attempting to deflect responsibility, blaming the crisis on the Russian Ministry of Defense, which is massively siphoning water from military installations and training grounds. Political circles in the occupiers are actively discussing the possibility of a new personnel rotation in the Crimean administration if the water supply situation doesn't improve by the end of the year. Meanwhile, Alushta officials admit there is no real action plan. Supplies depend solely on precipitation and internal reserves, which are in dire need. Local residents are already preparing for the worst. In some areas of Alushta, some people are forced to collect water from technical sources, while utility services are delivering it by tanker. It's undrinkable, but there's no alternative. Experts warn that if the situation does not improve by the end of December, Crimea could face a major water crisis for the first time since 2020. Crimea's water problem is not a novelty. Due to relatively low annual average precipitation levels and a poor river network, chronic freshwater shortages have been an acute predicament for centuries. The first attempt to resolve this problem came after the drought of 1833, when Finnish-born Russian botanist Christian Stephen proposed building a canal from the Dnieper River to Crimea. The idea only came to fruition nearly 130 years later. In 1961, Soviet authorities began construction of the North Crimean Canal, which, after a few years, started delivering some of the Dnieper's water to the peninsula. Despite the fact that the canal did not solve Crimea's water problem completely, it satisfied 85% of the peninsula's needs when it came to drinking water, irrigation, and industrial use.